Haverim, you may be seated. As Parashat Vayishlach opens, we find our ancestor Jacob is afraid. He is returning home after 20 years, and he has to face his brother Esau. And there's good reason for him to be afraid. The two brothers, estranged over that period of time, left on less than ideal terms. When Jacob departed, it was after Jacob had tricked their father Isaac into giving Jacob the deathbed blessing. This after having connived to wrangle the birthright away from Esau. And we're told that Esau was comforting himself, giving him solace by saying, "I'm going to kill my brother." So, despite 20 years having gone by, Jacob is justifiably afraid of the meeting that is about to take place. There's nothing to suggest that Esau has changed his plan. He certainly hasn't had any justice or recompense for what he feels that he's lost. But Jacob knows that he has to meet Esau if he is to return home. And so he goes through an elaborate series of preparations, including sending messengers to his brother Esau with a vast array of gifts. The servants return with the following news. "We found your brother, and by the way, he's on his way to meet you, and he has 400 men with him." Appreciate that this is not just a small army. In the ancient world, this is a big army. You can imagine that hearing this does nothing to allay Jacob's fears. And so he continues to make preparations for his encounter, the most consequential of which is that he literally divides everything he has into two camps. He splits his wives, his children, his entourage, his flocks, his sheep, his herds, everything is separated into two camps with the hope that if Jacob attacks one, the other one will escape. That Esau attacks one, the other one will escape. Okay. So you are paying attention. Good for you. Jacob also engages in a certain amount of spiritual preparation as well. Praise. He prays fervently to God that God will, in fact, deliver him from the hand of Esau and fulfill the promise of future. We're also told that in that night, Jacob is alone. And he's struggling. And that struggle, in some ways, is exteriorized as this confrontation with this enigmatic person or divine being. But is clearly meant to show that Jacob is still struggling with what he had done in the past and how to find a path into the future. After all of this intense preparation, This incredible fear that Jacob brings when the two brothers finally do meet. There's no attack, just powerful emotion. Jacob sends a series of gifts ahead of his family, and as he approaches his brother Esau, he bows low to him 7 times. Whether he does so as an admission that he had wronged his brother Esau, or whether he simply did it as a way of pacifying Esau, the effect is profound. The text tells us that Esau ran to greet him and embraced his brother, falling on his neck, and he kissed him, and they wept. You have this cathartic moment of reconciliation. You discover that after 20 years, Esau is in fact eager to reunite with Jacob, to welcome him home, and to receive him even with affection. Esau inquires about Jacob's family and the life that he led while he was in exile. Esau has let go of the animus and the anger. Jacob, for his part, also undergoes a remarkable transformation when he greets his brother Esau. No longer the scheming, blessing snatcher of 20 years in the past. Jacob is now looking for a connection with his brother. Not about material gain or possessions, about bonding and restoring some family harmony. When Esau asks Jacob why he has sent so many gifts and tries to refuse them, saying, "Keep what's yours, I have success and wealth. I don't need what's yours." And Jacob says, "No, you must, even as a favor, accept my gift." And he says, "For to see your face is like seeing the face of God, and you have received me favorably." Jacob is moved by the welcome that he's received, by the embrace and the affection of his brother. And the two brothers are moved by the sight of each other's faces. They reaffirm their humanity, they reaffirm their brotherhood, and they reaffirm their relationship to the divine. After this wonderful scene of reconciliation, they amicably decide to go their separate ways, but the trace of the renewed relationship remains. Later in the Torah, we'll see that they come together when their father Isaac dies, and they act as family in burying him, in mourning him. Jacob and Esau's meeting, as described in our Parashat, shows us just how powerful personal moments of meeting and reconciliation can be. Along with the power that meeting face to face allows, our Parsha also teaches us about the importance of preparation. Jacob makes incredible preparation before he meets Esau. There were physical, emotional, spiritual preparations that were necessary. And it raises for us the question of what kind of preparations, communal and individual, material and spiritual, will we need to make in order to meet and reconcile with those whom we deem to be other. I have to admit I've struggled with this in recent weeks. I imagine many of us have. Watch the unfolding of horror in front of us. We listen to the voices of the hostages released and the horrors that they experienced. We see the wrenching pain and grief of families that are still separated and families that are suffering the loss of loved ones. Watch day after day as funeral after funeral took place. The situation feels intractable, and the cycle of violence continues to spasm out of control. And I know that I feel angry, vengeful. Feel like Esau. Deeply disturbing. But I also feel like Jacob, who realizes that he has to prepare for a different moment, who has to find a way to reconcile what he's done in the past for the future, somehow find reconciliation with Esau. That's the challenge. For us, it means making preparations now in the way we talk about those we consider other, in the way we speak to and educate our children, the way in which we support organizations that will help us encourage and foster and find a common ground. Only hope and pray that even as we are making those preparations, that the Esau that we will meet has also gone through that transformation, so that he can respect and recognize the humanity of his brother, see the face of God and divinity in his brother. That what was true for our ancient ancestors, Jacob and Esau, that there can be a moment, ability and amicability. That's my hope. That is my prayer, that we can reenact that moment of embrace. Been teased by it in the past, been hinted at. That handshake, begging. And there was a moment of hope. Oslo Accords, another moment of hope. Our encounter not long after they were announced. 7-Eleven. And behind the counter, notices my kippah and says, please don't take this the wrong way, but you're Jewish, right? Yes. I'm Lebanese, but my family roots are in Palestine. Finally, this is the moment. Said it with such hopefulness. Because it was the first Jewish person he'd had the chance to articulate that hope to. When that next moment of opportunity will be. But I can only hope and pray. Jacob and Esau and their descendants meet again. We will have all prepared ourselves for a moment of reconciliation. Haverim,